And we are live, back with another episode of Totally Recalled MMA. This is our second podcast. Last week we had a great show. It was about 35 minutes long we went for. And I just want to start off by saying shout out to everyone who watched, because I definitely did not expect this kind of reaction. I think we're up to like 200 views now in the 6 days that it's been up. And we've had some really positive reactions. I just want to thank everybody for watching. This is Totally Recalled MMA, a show where we just talk about MMA and the UFC, a little bit of Bellator, a little bit of that. Everything's going well, and I'm definitely excited to be back with you guys for week 2. Today on the show, we're going to recap UFC 221, which was a very surprising card. The results had us all shook. We'll get into that. We're also going to touch up on UFC Fight Night this Sunday from Austin, Texas. That's headlined by Cowboy Cerrone and Yancy Medeiros. There are some great fights on that card. We're also going to talk about Bellator. That's this Friday. We're going to talk about the heavyweight World Grand Prix and Mitrione fighting Nelson. And then we're just kind of opening up for a little table discussion, and we'll see how it goes. But are you guys ready?
Always.
All right, cool. Let's get down to it. UFC 221 was headlined by Yoel Romero and Luke Rockhold. It was supposed to be for the interim middleweight belt. Unfortunately, Yoel Romero missed weight, so the belt was off the line for him. But boy, did he show up to fight. It was a third round KO. It was a 1, and then it was another one on the ground, and Rockhold was just out of there, man. It was really great to watch this fight. I'm gonna start with Tommy. Tommy, what is your initial reaction to the fight when you saw it?
Coming into the fight, I thought Yoel. I thought he was gonna get outboxed. I thought he was gonna get outstruck. I just thought it was gonna be Rockhold's night because he missed weight and he didn't really try to make weight after he missed weight. So that was unprofessional by him. So, and the fight went how I thought it was gonna go. Rockhold starting out, good kicks, good punches, but Romero having short blitzes in there, here and there. I knew Romero would start out slow, and I even said in the last podcast that somehow Yoel Romero wins by third round knockout. But I was stupid, and I thought the other way, and Romero knocked him out in the third round. It's just, this is the second time Rockhold's been caught with that left hand, so I don't really know what's going on with him. Yeah, I mean, in the Dave Branch fight, he got caught, but he seemed to come back and win by submission in the second round. But yeah, it was a good fight. Romero, I mean, should he get the title shot? I don't know. I mean, what do you think, Ray?
Oh, okay. So, like I said, I'll start off saying it was a great fight too. It didn't go the way as planned. I wanted my boy Rockhold to get the dub, but it's all good, you know. Yeah, I mean, Rockhold looked great. The jab was working. That straight jab was working all night. Kept catching him with a jab. You know, he's throwing the leg kicks. I was like, okay, he's looking. I know that leg kicks was tearing up Yoel. So, yeah, it sucked. You know, he got caught. He got dropped. But the thing about it is that second hit was so brutal. It sucked, man. I hated seeing that happen to Rockhold. But, I mean, like you said, he almost weight. He's not a champion, but he's still getting a title shot. Dana confirmed it. So,
oh, it's confirmed?
It's confirmed. He's getting a title shot. It makes me so upset. You know, you miss weight by that much, and you still get a title shot. It's lame. I mean, Chris Weidman's fighting for the spot, but I mean, who knows what they're going to do? There's going to be Jacare in Weidman. Is there going to be? They can't do another interim fight. You can't do another interim belt. I mean, no one wants to see that.
Nah.
So, yeah, so hopefully not, man. I mean, it was a great fight, and Yoel, he won, but he doesn't deserve a title shot.
Yeah, me personally, I don't think that Yoel deserves the shot. Before I go into hammering Yoel, I want to give, I want to talk a little bit about that fight too, and just first off, give some props to Rockhold, who showed up, as he said, he is a effing professional. Showed up on weight, ready to go. He looked good coming in there. Like I said, looked really lean, looked strong as well. And like you said, that jab was working for him. I remember texting you guys in the group chat that I really liked some of the combos that he was throwing. Like his boxing looked nice. He looked patient. He looked like he was waiting almost for that explosiveness that comes from Yoel. Like he was waiting for it. And yeah, it's another third round knockout for Yoel, man. Something about the third round. I don't know what the coaches are telling that man in between the second and third rounds, but he has that explosiveness. He'll come out for like 30 seconds and just come at you, man.
Outrageous.
It's unreal. And that first punch that he threw, that first left that he threw, right, was a left that he caught him with.
The Celtic cross.
I think that knocked Luke out then. And then, bro, he wound up that second punch from the ground. I mean, dude, it was bad. It was a bad knockout. I was telling Tommy before we started, I thought that Overeem Ngannou knockout was the scariest one I'd seen in a while. But this one was the scariest one I'd seen in a long time, man.
I agree with that, because what was scary about it is that he was already not moving. You know, it wasn't like he caught him off an exchange. He was on the ground, kind of like stuck, like, you know, like he's stuck, and he just cocked back. And you just see his head, boom, like a shotgun just shot him in the head. It was bad.
It was bad, man. But congratulations to Yoel Romero, no doubt. Luke Rockhold is a formidable opponent, man, and he's a hard guy to take out of there. He looked good in his fight against Branch, and we all picked him to win.
We did,
and that was the first L that we all took. Up the night. Quickly before we move on to the co-main of the night, I want to talk about just how unprofessional, how frustrating it was to see Yoel get on that scale Friday night. I believe it was Friday night, and I think he weighed over 2.5 pounds over. And I know he took this fight on short notice, but it really is frustrating when guys miss weight, man. I was telling y'all that there's college wrestlers and amateur fighters that do this for the love, and they show up on weight and they're good to go. And if they don't make weight, most of the time the fight just gets canceled. I know in the NCAA, if opponents don't make weight, matches are usually canceled. And I know this is an NCAA, but it's still weight cutting. It's still fighting. And it just shows that it was super unprofessional. Yoel's excuse was, my body was breaking down. And of course we got to respect that, because we don't want, Yoel to die, but his body was breaking down. Bro, he was doing the salsa dance the day before on stage at the open media workout. He said, I'm going to go sit in a sauna. No, bro. He went to the store and bought himself a fat glass of water and some snacks, and he gained 0.5 pound when he stepped back on that scale 2 hours later. I mean, seriously, man. So yeah, it just kind of added to the confusion of the night. The interim belt that shouldn't have even been the interim belt was taken off the line. And the UFC is, got put into a really shitty place, right? Because how are they going to offer a title fight to a dude who missed weight his last fight? Tommy, what are your thoughts on just the weight cut, issue that we saw on Saturday night?
I mean, the UFC, they really don't do anything for fighters that miss weight. I mean, if you miss weight over 10 pounds, I mean, you gotta stop the fight. I mean, cancel the fight. But I mean, when Josh Emmett knocked out Ricardo Lamas, he showed up overweight, and now he's headlining a Fox card against Jeremy Stevens. And I mean, a lot of fans are upset, but the UFC just likes to keep pushing and pushing, makes you forget about bad things that happened. I mean that's their job, but personally, professionally, I don't think Yoel Romero should get the next shot. But it is what it is. I mean, he did knock out Weidman, and I mean, if Weidman got the shot, there'd be a lot of fans complaining that Romero should get the shot. And if Romero got the shot, a lot of people will be complaining that Romero missed weight. So it's kind of a lose-lose situation. But, yeah. What are your thoughts, Ray?
Yeah, man, I completely agree with that, because, you can't – I mean, bottom line is you can't miss weight. They have the Performance Institute now locally. Everyone can go to that gym. They have their trainers, their dietitians. They have all the stuff they need to make weight. Like you say, he took the fight on short notice. But still, you have all the proper tools to make weight. And making weight is just not an excuse. If it's a crazy weight cut, your body's breaking down, you might want to think about weight classes, And sometimes, like, you can get too big for weight class. Just like Max Holloway is saying, I'm big for a featherweight. I might have to go up to lightweight. It's just, if your body is telling you no, then by all means switch weight classes. You can still fight. Like you gotta go up and wait. That's it. That's all there is to it. Oh, no, that's all. That's all.
And I think extreme weight cutting is absolutely ridiculous in MMA. And it's become a standard where Conor McGregor reference here, when he made 145, he looked like a ghost on stage. He looked like a shell of himself. And I just feel like, and it's become such a popular thing in the sport, I just feel like it's ridiculous. The fighters should be fighting at their natural weight class or just at least a few pounds below. I mean, it just sucks.
It's so brutal, those weight cuts, you know. You have like I don't know if you guys seen, but they show photos of Joanna's weight cut, and that was terrifying, you know. I never want to see something like that again. She's just in a tub and she's crying, there's towels on her, and you could tell like, man, why am I doing this? You know, and it's kind of like, it's crazy. And that's why I have so much respect for them, because they're doing that for us. They're doing that to fight and to go on, you know. So it's crazy that they put their bodies through stuff like that. So you have to respect it to a certain point. But like you say, you got to get to your natural weight classes.
You gotta solve the weight cutting issue. The thing is, it just seems so hard. And maybe this wouldn't solve the weight cutting issue, or maybe it would, but start penalizing guys for missing weight. You bringing up Josh Emmett getting that fight, headlining a card against Stevens, coming off missing weight. Yoel getting this title shot, coming off missing weight. I mean, what real incentive is there for you to make weight other than giving up your purse? I mean, and we haven't even discussed about what kind of advantage Yoel may have had coming into that fight, not being as dehydrated as Rockhold. I mean, that could have played into the fight. Very, very well so, and it makes little to no sense that Yoel should get a title shot. You've got to penalize these guys, or else it's just gonna keep happening. And yeah, you guys are bringing up McGregor and you're bringing up Joanna, but the thing is, they come in looking scary, but they come in making weight. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Like, they still show up ready to fight. This is a completely different issue. We're talking about, I mean, maybe not completely different because we're talking about weight and weight cutting, but to me, this was just unprofessional. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, I agree, man.
The second thing I want to hammer Yoel for is I know he must have thought Saturday night was Valentine's Day in Australia, because after he knocked out Rockhold, he's all up in this dude's face for good like 15, 20 seconds, just trying to embrace him. I think he was kissing him, just hugging him, telling him that he loved him. And to me, there's not a more I know he's doing it because like he wants to show love to Rockhold, but it's real unprofessional to be in a guy's face like that, who you just brutally KO'd. Rockhold did not look like he even knew where he was, because if he did know where he was, he would have put pause on Romero for being What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, man. It's a little crazy he did that. Like you said, I understand what he was trying to do, show like neutral respect. You know, it was kind of got heated at the weigh-ins. You know, they were talking smack, and he kind of showed, like, you know, I have love for you. This is our sport. Sometimes things go wrong. But, you know, like you said, he brutalized Rockhold. He just KO'd him. So for anyone to get knocked out, I don't think anyone should be in their face, you know. And for him to just be that close so soon, it was just kind of like, not disrespectful, but it kind of is in a way, you know. And it's just like, it's not needed. You can wait until after the fight. You can wait till after they announce the winner of the fight. But like right after you KO him, it's just not the right time to go up to somebody.
Yeah, I agree with both you guys. Yeah, I mean, you guys hit all the points there. I mean, if I was Rockhold, I'd want some space after it just got brutally knocked out.
Yeah, if you're in any one of those guys' corner, man, you gotta separate those two, because it's just kind of sickening to see. I mean, so not only are you unprofessional and missing weight, but after you do so, after you obliterate the dude on international TV, just being all up in his face like that, I definitely don't think it was needed. I think the time for that is after the fight. There's definitely, Yoel definitely respects Rockhold. That's why he was up there, but it was disrespectful, and that's all I'm gonna say on that. Whatever, if Yoel's getting a title shot, just show up on weight, dude. And if you knock out Whitaker, which I don't think is gonna happen. right? Because these two
that'd be hard to do.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's happening. If you get the dub, man, just be more mindful, Yoel, please, because yeah, we don't need to see that, and we don't need, you know, I don't know what you're doing. I want to table that discussion. I feel like we covered all of our bases there. It still was a great fight. It still was entertaining. And let's move on to the co-main of that fight. Curtis Blades defeating Mark Hunt via unanimous decision. That was a super interesting fight to watch, man. I thought it was great. The first round, they were just kind of feeling each other out, feeling out the distance. You know, Mark Hunt's got that dangerous power. He's a, you know, former kickboxing champion. And so, you know, he was just feeling it out. And the first thing that I want to say about Mark Hunt that I noticed was the way that he slips his punches, man. The way that, you know, I know that Curtis was just throwing out those, like, you know, those jabs just to kind of feel it out. But Mark Hunt, the way he moves in there, it was like super smooth to watch that old guy move, man. And he was staying out of the way, and even you know, connected and almost finished the fight in the first round. But we all know what happened once Blades realized that he could take Mark Hunt down and show off that wrestling skill. That was the game plan from then and there on, and the fight was a wrestling match from the first round on. Ray, what were your thoughts on the fight after watching it?
Yeah, man. Okay, so it's funny. We all went for Mark Hunt. We all wanted our boy to win. And like I said, I did say it had the makings to be just like the Lesnar fight. And it went directly into the same direction as the Lesnar fight. You know, I've never seen anyone throw Mark Hunt like that. Oh. He was ragdolling him, just throwing him everywhere. I was like, this is Mark Hunt we're talking about. But I mean, once he felt that power, he could barely stand. He took it to the face, and he just was wobbly, trying to like get back into his regular position. And then Mark Hunt was hunting him down. Mark Hunt looked great. Like you said, the slips was perfect, was smooth. And then like once Curtis Blades felt that power, he's like, nope, I go back to what I do. I wrestle. I'm nasty at wrestling. I'm going to take Mark Hunt on the ground, and I'm going to beat him on the ground. And it wasn't like he just sat there and held him there. I mean, he was putting on some nasty ground and pound, some nasty elbows. And I mean, he looked good. So hats off to him.
Tommy, what do you think?
I mean, it said a lot, but I thought it was completely two fights going on. I mean, Mark Hunt's striking was just so much more superior than Curtis Blades, and Curtis Blades' grappling was just miles better than Mark Hunt's. I mean, Curtis Blades fought a very smart fight. He did what he had to do, and don't get hit, duck, and go for the takedown. And like Ray said, he was throwing him around. I've never seen that happen to Mark Hunt. I mean, I didn't see Brock Lesnar throw him around like that.
Nope.
First guy I've ever seen do that to him. It was pretty crazy. I mean, Mark Hunt almost had him in the first round, but Curtis Blades realized go back to what he was good at because he is a former amateur wrestling champion. So yeah, impressive fight by Curtis Blades. I think he'll get a top opponent next in top 5, possibly Ngannou or Overeem, someone like that. Definitely be interesting to see him against the top tier competition.
For sure, and I think he earns a fight like that after his performance against Mark Hunt. Yeah, and it sucks, you know, to see him get booed like that, or to see Mark Hunt just get dominated for 4 rounds in front of his home crowd. But Mark Hunt's kind of late to the game, and as far as like MMA goes, I don't think that he started even competing MMA till like his mid-30s. Just doing the kickboxing, and so like he really doesn't have like that wrestling acumen. And Curtis Blades fought a great fight. What was cool though about the fight was Mark Hunt's will to just survive and get back up even in the 5th round.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
He would get taken down, and then you would see him just crawl his almost just like crawl his way to the cage so that he could get back up, and he got up almost every time.
Yeah.
If the round wasn't stopped by the bell. And so props to Mark Hunt for hanging in there. You said Blades will probably get a top 5 opponent. I don't really know what's next for Mark Hunt. I know he has maybe a couple more fights left on his contract. But this is how it's supposed to go, man. Like the young guys are supposed to be like this, and it was a great fight. Props to both fighters for putting that on. Any other words from either of you two about that fight that you want to say?
Not about that fight, but I will want to add, the fight before that, my boy Bam Bam Tai Tuivasa. You know, he looked nasty.
Performance.
He straight nasty. Just
Young
body
Marquis.
shots, elbows, and like it's killing this guy. It was brutal to see, man. I was so excited to see him. You know, ever since his last fight, that flying knee was vicious. And after that, I've been high on this guy. So hopefully, you know, he's in the top 15 now. So hopefully they give him somebody.
Yeah, real quick. Let me just. That was the fight I wanted to segue into. Tai Tuivasa defeating Cyril Asker via first round KO. It was a great fight. Yeah, it was everything that you said. Tommy, you want to touch up with thoughts about the Tai Bam Bam Tuivasa's performance?
The guy's got a bright future. I mean, I see big things for him. We just got to see him against competition that will really, really push him. I mean, his first 2 fights in the UFC, Asker, he was a challenge to face with, but Tuivasa just completely bulldozed him. I mean, we need to really see him against like a formidable challenge in the division before we actually get an opinion of his title hopes and his contendership. Yeah, he's definitely got a bright future.
Yeah, I think I think the UFC shouldn't give him too much too soon. He reminds me a lot of kind of like old Mark Hunt. Do any guys like kind of get that from him?
Definitely. I mean, they train together, so I mean, it's like it's like a little Mark Hunt. So it's dope to see that.
Yeah, and I mean, he got Asker out of there quick. It looked like a total mismatch.
It was bad.
I was texting y'all. I was like, because I think those fights were going on around like 2 or 3 in the afternoon over in Australia, and I was saying, damn, imagine just flying all the way across the world just to get your ass whooped. That no disrespect, but just to get your lights knocked out like that early, man. You got to go home and you got to sit and think about that before you can go to sleep. But yeah, great. It was a good fight. How about the dude's personality? You guys think he's a funny guy?
Yeah. Looking out of his shoe after the fight. Great guy. His interview, he just seemed excited to go to the after party. So yeah.
Yeah, there are like plans for the after party. He was like, no comment. Yeah, dude, super cool dude. Super cool to see to see a new heavyweight kind of rise up. I don't want to see the UFC give him too much too soon. Like he definitely needs to rise up the ranks. Yeah, just great performance by him. The whole doing the luge out of the shoe is kind of gross, but also like super cool to watch. You know, getting a rise out of that, and it was good for him to get a win in front of his home country. And I'm definitely excited to see more from him. Let's talk about this other fight here, the previous fight, which is Jake Matthews defeating Li Jingliang via unanimous decision. This was a really interesting fight. This fight actually got performance of the night, which to me, I kind of take a little bit of issue with, because I don't know if you remember. Lee was getting he was in a choke. He was getting choked out by Matthews, and Matthews was about to finish the fight, but Lee kind of gouged Matthews' eyes out in that first round, clearly to avoid a submission. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Tommy, I'll start with you, man. Have you seen any kind of eye gouging like that to that extent?
No, man, that was dirty. That's Huzamar Paul Harris level. I mean, Huzamar Paul Harris holds submissions too long, gouges people in the eye. It's just stuff like that. It's just stupid. Jingliang Li, he's a great fighter. He's a great stand-up artist. I haven't seen any dirty moves like that before. So I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
You got to do what you got to do. And the ref, I don't know who was reffing, but kind of went over there and he gave him a warning. He didn't even take a point away. He kind of moved his hands out of the way and said,
which is outrageous.
Next time you do that, we're going to take a point. Boy, that fight should have been over.
Yeah, that was outrageous.
That's a DQ. And you know that if he had got that submission over Lee in the first round, they wouldn't have gotten performance of the night. I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, the fight, that was a good fight. I mean, he dropped Jingliang like twice, actually. I mean, it was a great stand-up fight. It was fun to see. But like performance at night, I mean, I don't know. Like just based off that occasion alone, it's kind of like, dang, like that's something clear as day. As a referee, if you see that, like you said, that's definitely not a warning. Like if you're digging in deep like that, oh man, you have to stop the fight, man. You can't let that go on. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean it's one thing if you're kind of doing that in like a striking exchange where you can say that you're just trying to like establish some distance. You can say it was an accident, but that was deliberate. It was dirty. And I like Li Jingling. I liked his performance. I think his last fight was back in Hong Kong. He had a great fight. And it was a great rest of the fight too. But I just it just like kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and I kind of wanted to bring that point up.
Definitely.
I did not watch the Tyson Pedro fight. He defeated Saperbek Safarov via submission by Kimura in about 1 minute and 5 seconds into the first round. I'm gonna let Tommy talk a little bit about that fight because I just missed it. What'd you see, Tommy?
Well, I missed the fight too, but I saw the highlight, and that was one of the most fantastic Kimuras I've seen in a long, long time. Standing Kimura. It's just, who does that? That's crazy. I haven't seen that in the UFC ever.
Yeah, I mean, it was so smooth. Like, the thing is, he was beating him, I think, every punch the guy was throwing, he just was catching them. And so the guy panicked and went for a takedown, and he just snapped him right in, and it was nice.
Yeah, like I said, like it's really dope for these, for the Aussie fighters or the New Zealand fighters to get wins and in front of their home country. And I know that I don't know what's next for Tyson Pedro. What do you guys think's next for him?
I don't know. We'll have to see. I have to look at the rankings and see who's all above him. Like there's a lot they can do with him. He's looking strong. So I mean, hopefully they give him someone in the. But yeah, who knows? Who knows what they're gonna do with him? I'm excited to see. I gotta check that out. I gotta check out the rankings.
Yeah, for sure. So that was it for the pay-per-view. There was one fight that I kind of wanted to touch on that was in the prelims. It was the UFC debut of Israel, the last style bender Adesanya. He had a middleweight fight against he defeated Rob Wilkinson via second round TKO, and he's a former kickboxer. He's a Nigerian born New Zealand kickboxer. He's a former kickboxing champion, and his Muay Thai in that fight was excellent. It was super calculated. The dude, I don't know if you guys saw like his post fight interviews or any of his other interviews, but he's super. He's a prospect, man. Like he's got a good energy about him. He's super confident. He's in the cage, like pissing in the cage, and he's all the other middleweights out there. I just pissed all over the cage in here. What's next? Did you guys see that fight? You guys have any thoughts about it?
Yeah, man, he's dope. He kind of gives me that Johnny Bones vibe. Like he could be like Jones' little brother. He kind of looks like him in there. So it was dope to see him. Like you said, that nasty Muay Thai. He's a cool guy. Definitely a prospect. And let's see where it goes from here, man. He looks dope.
Yeah, he's a fresh new face. He's got a funny Instagram. He's got some cool memes on there. Last style bender. But yeah, he's a rising prospect. I'll definitely watch him in the future.
He's cool, man. I definitely hope that the UFC does not make the mistake of having him headline a next card or giving him anybody ranked or anybody in the top 10 next. This is somebody because that's how you derail someone's career. Yeah. Get him in there with some guys. Give him some other, I don't want to call them tune-up fights because nobody in the UFC is a tune-up fight. This isn't boxing. This is UFC. So we want great fights, but it's very important that the UFC doesn't overload him too much. Put him on a couple more fight nights, or have him on the prelims of something. He looked good, and it's good for the UFC to get this. Like I said, it's a fresh face, and I really like the dude's personality. I'm definitely going to be on the lurk for his next fight. And that about wraps up the card. I don't know what the speculation is on the amount of buys, but I don't know anybody other than ourselves who bought the card or who went somewhere to watch it. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys? How do you guys see this pay-per-view kind of ranking in terms of the other pay-per-views that the UFC has lined up or done in the past? Because to me, it was we knew it was particularly underwhelming coming in. I think it was good for what it was, but Tommy, where do you see like it ranking amongst the other pay-per-views that the UFC has ready to go?
I'm really big into the numbers myself about the UFC, so I'm always like big into like the gate, the pay-per-view buys, and stuff like that. But I don't see this breaking like 230,000 pay-per-view buys. I don't even think it'll break 200, honestly, because I heard nobody talking about this fight. And yeah. Yeah, I mean, it had little to no buzz. I mean, it was yes, there was buzz. For a fight night, there would be some good viewership, but for a pay-per-view, it just didn't have the name value. You had Mark Hunt, Robert Whitaker, Luke Rockhold, and for a casual viewer that happens to come across this card, they wouldn't think this is the card to watch. And it does cost $70 to $65 to pay for a pay-per-view. And I mean, personally, I liked watching it. I enjoyed it. There was great fights, but I don't think it ranks up well with pay-per-views in the past year.
It definitely doesn't. The casual is not going to go out and buy this card, and it definitely was plagued as soon as Whitaker had to pull out. It would have been really awesome to watch Whitaker Rockhold, which we talked about last week. If that would have happened on home soil for Whitaker, and yeah, it just seemed like this card was kind of doomed from there. The fans though were still great, man. I was watching the prelims, and those fans were in there like from the first prelim fight. So props to the Aussie fans who showed up and supported their fighters regardless of Whitaker pulling out. Yeah, so that wraps up our discussion about 221. Let's move on to the next event that the UFC has going on. This is UFC Fight Night. That is this Sunday, February 18th. That's headlined by Cowboy Cerrone and Yancy Medeiros. Two welterweights going at it. This is from Austin, Texas. It starts around 9 p.m. And if I'm a casual fan, I'm liking this card too because it has some good names on it. You've got obviously Cowboy getting back in there. Derek Lewis versus Marcin Tybura in a heavyweight fight. James Vick is fighting. Thiago Alves is fighting. Super Sage Northcutt is fighting. Ray, what's your excitement like for this card? I mean, before we get into the main event and maybe kind of breaking that down a little bit, what is your initial reaction to this fight night that the UFC is putting on?
Yeah, man, I'm pretty excited about the card. I'm a huge Cowboy fan, but actually for this fight, I think I'm gonna rock with Yancy just based off because I've been rocking with the Hawaiians. My favorite fighter, Max Holloway, Max Baby. Max Bless.
Blessed era.
Blessed era. Yeah, but I mean, it's an exciting fight because Cowboy is on a 3-4 fight losing streak, if I'm correct.
I think he's on a 3-fight losing streak.
Yeah, man, he's been getting blasted by these new guys, and Yancy's the type of guy who's up in your face, ready to brawl. So it's kind of like I can see Yancy taking the fight, but it's Cowboy's a straight up gangster, and Cowboy can put the lights out at any time in the fight. But overall, it's like a card. I'm excited. Like you said, there's so many big names. I'm excited for Sage. Like everyone loves Sage. Like, I mean, it's going to be a great card. I'm excited.
Yeah. Tommy, what are your general thoughts about this card before we, I guess we can talk a little bit about we can break down the main and the co-main, but as a whole, where do you think this ranks as kind of like a fight night as far as for what the UFC could put on?
I think it's a great fight night, personally. There's a lot of fun names. A lot of exciting fights to watch. Derek Lewis, Tybura, that's going to be a fun one. Cerrone versus Yancy. I mean, that's going to be exciting right off the gate. So, yeah, I'm excited to watch that one. Cowboy, I think he has something to prove in this fight. Yancy, he's got great power. Almost finished by Cowboy Oliveira. Now he's got to fight another Cowboy. And, yeah, it's going to be a tough one.
It's going to be dope, man. Cowboys coming off 3 losses. He did not put out a good showing against Darren Till. I know Darren Till's a welterweight monster. He's huge. He looked great in that fight. What I noticed about that fight, though, is I felt like it was over as soon as that Till exchange started. Cowboy just seemed to kind of curl up in a ball, and I don't ever want to say fighters quit, but it almost looked like he quit in there. And he went into that fight talking about how he'd never heard of Darren Till, how he hadn't watched any film on him, and he was just going to show up and do his cowboy thing. I feel like he overlooked Till, and let's hope that he watches that Yancy Medeiros versus Alex Oliveira fight, because that was a great
banger, straight barn burner.
Ray, what do you think about as you look at these two fighters, man? You're rocking with Yancy. I'm on the UFC website right now, and Cowboy's still favored. What do you think about that?
Okay, I mean, I can see why he's favored. You know, just based on he's been fighting the highest level guys. You know, he's been fighting the big names. You know, Yancey hasn't really been put on to the big names yet. He's getting there. It's his first big name. So I don't agree. I guess I kind of agree with the favoritism just based on like his name personally. You know, like it's kind of a young gun against a veteran. So you know, it's but yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for this fight. I feel like it's going to be a barn burner. I feel like they're going to go back and forth. They're just going to slug it out. But like I said, these new breeds are something serious. And like just to touch up on the you brought up the Darren Till fight. Just to touch up on that, yeah, I do feel like he quit in there. You know, he took a couple of hard shots to the body. You know, and I like you said, he was curling up, and just once he caught that elbow, it was just his nose just straight just got blasted. And you know, like he's taking on this abuse from these younger guys. I don't know. I don't think Cowboy's going to ever get back into title contention. I mean, that's just my opinion. It's just like there's too many young guns, and they're vicious, man. They're getting vicious by the day. So yeah, it's going to be fun. We'll see.
Oh, what's your pick?
You guys going to be picked?
Yeah.
Oh, Yancey, you gotta go with Yancey. I mean, like I said, I'm a huge fan of Cowboy. Like I've loved Cowboy. I still love Cowboy. But like I said, I've been rocking with the 808, the Hawaiians. So I'm gonna go with Yancey for this fight. How do you feel about that, Tommy?
I'm kind of leaning towards Cowboy myself, man.
Ooh.
I mean, I had Yancey picked for a while, but I just got a feeling Cowboys got that 3-5 losing streak, and when you're on a 3-5 losing streak, you just have that will to get another win. And I don't know where Donald's head's at. I don't know where Yancey's head's at. But as I've seen in past fights with the Yancey back featherweight division with Dustin Poirier had a similar style to Cowboy at the time, and Yancey just got lit up. And Cowboy Oliveira nearly knocked Yancey dead in the first round. And that was very dangerous. Yancey is a slow starter, and Cowboy Cerrone is a slow starter too. So I don't know. I'm kind of edging towards Cowboy in this one. Maybe he takes it, maybe TKO in the third or decision, but it'll be a fun one.
Yeah, it'll be cool. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna root for Cowboy. I'm gonna say Cowboy gets this dub too. He's kind of you're right. He after you take that kind of punishment for 3 fights straight, there's got to be some kind of fire in you. You know, you don't want to go out there and lose again because, I'm thinking if he gets brutalized like he just did against Till, I don't know, maybe he retires. I mean, I know that he likes to fight. He likes to spend his money, and so even if he loses here, I mean, we may not see the last of him. And it says something about Cowboy that even after losing 3 times in a row, he's still able to headline a card of this magnitude.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely agree with that. Like,
oh
yeah. So just to touch up, like how you were saying that how he wasn't watching the film and I don't know who he is. You know, that's something I actually love about Cowboy. It's because he's down to take these crazy risks. He doesn't care. He just wants to fight. You can put a heavyweight in front of Cerrone. He's ready to fight. He doesn't care, and that's one thing I actually do love about Cerrone. I just want to throw that in there.
Yeah, no, that's good. He's exciting. He's definitely exciting, and we're in for an exciting fight. I think we're also in for an exciting co-main event of the evening, and that is Derek the Black Beast Lewis against Marcin Tybura from Poland. Derek Lewis is coming off a loss against Mark Hunt. He was saying that he had some injuries going into that fight. But before he got beat by Mark Hunt, I mean, he was on a win streak. He was on a kill streak. He was going in. And both these heavyweights are ranked. I love watching ranked fighters fight. Derek Lewis number 7, Marcin Tybura number 9. Tybura is the favorite. Tommy, how do you see this fight going, man? What is your initial reaction when you compare these two fighters?
They were supposed to fight in 2016, I believe, in the Philippines, and that fight got canceled because the whole card got canceled because I think the main event got out. But yeah, I mean, I still think it's a similar fight. Derek Lewis, very dangerous, super, super powerful punches. He's got some of the most powerful strikes in the division or the UFC, possibly. The Black Beast versus Ngannou would be a great fight too. But he's got Tybura in front of him. And Tybura, he's got great wrestling, great strikes. He had a rocky start when in the UFC, lost to Tim Johnson, but he's finally getting his groove, finally becoming the heavyweight that he can be. And personally, I see the Black Beast getting this one, knockout first round, but I could be wrong.
Ooh.
But yeah, that's my bold pick. What do you guys think?
Ray?
Okay. I am going with the Black Beast, but just to throw in there about Marcin Tybura, I mean, he just won 5 rounds with Verdum, so he has that 5 rounds in him. He's ready to go. He showed that he can scrap. Like he can show he can take a hit. He absorbed some big hits. He ate them. The Black Beast, like you said, very powerful. I feel like he rips his body this fight. I feel like the Black Beast rips Tybura's body up. And like you said, I think he'll finish him. I don't know if it's a first round KO, but I do think he'll finish Tybura this fight. So I'm excited. How you feel about that, Kyle?
I think he comes out hungry. I don't know if it's a first round, second round, whatever. This fight is not going the distance.
For sure.
Knowing Derek Lewis. But yeah, I'm rocking with Derek Lewis too, man. I really like him. I really love his personality. I love the shit that he talks. And he's super stoic in there. Where Ronda Rousey fine ass at. He beat Travis Brown. That was great to watch. That was great to watch. Yeah, I feel like that loss against Hunt maybe kind of derailed him, but I do see him, advancing past Tybura. Maybe picking up a fight against Ngannou to get into that kind of title contention, because he definitely has the skill. I think if he works on his cardio a little bit, if he trains right, I think he was saying that he mentally he wasn't there for that fight against Mark Hunt. And he's fighting in his home state of Texas, which is great. And I think we're gonna see a good fight. That fight is actually super exciting for me. Like, I love just watching ranked guys go at it. I'm just looking at the rest of this card, man. We've got James Vick, ranked number 12, against Francisco Trinaldo. Tommy, I know that you really love James Vick. Anything you want to say about this fight?
Great fight. Great style matchup. Francisco Trinaldo, he was on Tough Brazil 1, and he's just been rising, man. He's just been keeping it going. I mean, his only loss, his last loss was to Kevin Lee. Very tough fight. Kevin Lee got that back, submitted him after Trinaldo nearly finished Kevin Lee. So Trinaldo, James Vick, great fight. James Vick, he's a hungry man. He wanted that main event. He wanted to fight Cowboy Cerrone. He hit up Sean Shelby on his phone for that Cowboy Cerrone main event, and they didn't reply back to him and gave it to Yancy Medeiros. I mean, James Vick feels like he's disrespected, so I think he's going to come in hungry, and I think he gets the win here.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's dope that we've got another Texas fighter. His nickname is the Texecutioner. I mean, Jesus, that's some scary shit, man. Yeah, it sucks that he didn't get that fight, but he's gonna come in. He's gonna come in hungry. He's gonna come in good. This is a lightweight fight, by the way, at 155. Forgot to mention that. For anybody who may not be familiar, James Vick, great record, 12-1. It's pretty good, man. This is great. Just looking at these other fights, just kind of wanted to touch up on the Northcutt fight a little bit. We love Sage Northcutt. Well, I think he's a dope dude. You guys have both met him, right? Ray, what's your feelings on Sage's next fight? How do you think he does?
Oh, I think he does great, man. His last fight in Norfolk, he looked awesome. I think he looked the best he's ever looked, actually. I think working with Team Alpha Male has done him nothing but good. So I can't wait to see him back in Octagon. He just looks so smooth. His slips look better. Overall as a fighter, he looked a little bit comfortable on the ground. Overall as a fighter, he just looked like a better Sage Northcutt. I think if this Sage Northcutt fought Mickey Gall the first time, I think he would have smashed Mickey Gall. So I'm excited to see this fight. Yeah, I love. It's a good fight, actually. I think he's fighting Goaty. I think he's fighting.
Yeah, Goaty.
Yeah.
His first name.
I think it's Goaty. I can't remember his first name.
I think
What's his first name? But anyways, just to sum it up, yeah, I think Sage is going to win this fight. I just have a feeling. I hope he gets the finish. He fights a decision normally. But I think that he wins this fight. I'm excited.
Yeah. Anything you want to add on there about Sage fighting or any of the other fights we didn't mention, like Thiago Alves or anybody else? Tommy?
I mean, Sage is just getting better and better. I mean, the kid is early 20s, like 22, 21, 23, something like that. He's got years on him. So he's in no rush. I think he could definitely be a world champion in several years from now, possibly. I mean, fighting at the UFC level this young. I mean, Sergio Pettis, he entered the UFC at like 19. He had a rough start, but now he's a top 5 contender. I mean, so just give Sage Northcutt time, and he'll be there. Rest of the card: Thiago Alves, Curtis Millender. Curtis Millender, Bellator fighter, win-loss type of fighter in Bellator. Finally getting a shot against a tough fighter in Thiago Alves. Thiago Alves he's been around the whole world. He's fought everybody. So I mean, you'd expect Thiago Alves to win that fight, but who knows? So yeah, it's a good fight night. Some good fights. Yeah, good. Seems like a good night.
Yeah, I'm super excited, and it's free. You know, that's the best part. You can tell your friends to watch. Anybody who's watching can watch for free on Fox Sports 1. Definitely looking forward to it, and it's a Sunday night card instead of a Saturday night card. I asked Tommy, I was like, why do you think they're doing that? And I totally forgot that it's President's Day on Monday.
Okay,
I don't have class off. Do you have work off, Ray?
Probably, honestly. Actually, I just switched jobs, so yeah, I'll probably be off just because I work inside now.
Yeah, it's nice, man. But yeah, that's a Sunday night card. It's a little different, a little switch up. Let's change organizations just very briefly. Bellator 194 is this Friday. That is headlined by the heavyweight Grand Prix first round fight between Roy Big Country Nelson and Matt Mitrione. I'm really excited for this. You know, we touched briefly on the heavyweight World Grand Prix last week, and you know, finally we're getting the next fight of it. It sucks that all of these fights are like spread out. I think that if they were smart, they would do like, maybe not if they were smart, but if I was running Bellator, obviously I'm not running Bellator, but I think I'm like, why don't they do these fights all in the same night? Why don't they do the first round on the same night and you know, build like, you know, those huge heavyweight Grand Prix cards? I think that would have been cool. But yeah, Tommy, how do you see the fight between Roy Nelson and Matt Mitrione? If you want to go a little bit more in depth on it than we did last week, I think we touched very briefly on it. But now that it's only a few days away, what are you thinking? Who are you going with?
I picked Matt last week, and I'm sticking with him. Matt, he's just evolved his game. He's become such a better fighter than the first time they fought. Roy Nelson, I feel like he's getting up there in age. I think he's about 40, 41. And Roy Nelson, he's just losing to those fighters that just know how to use their distance well and just pick him apart. Roy Nelson used to be such a dangerous figure in the heavyweight division, knocking out people left and right, knocking out Czech Congo, Dave Herman, all these fighters. But I don't think he's the same as he used to be. Roy Nelson's last win, who did he fight last?
It was his debut. I believe it was this guy, Javi something, man. I just remember they fought to a decision, though. It wasn't a knockout, and I don't remember being too impressed by it.
I mean, Roy Nelson's used his ground game a lot recently. That's what he's used. In the Black Beast fight, Roy Nelson just used that wrestling a lot. And it really wasn't that effective because he didn't really do anything with it, with his top control. But, yeah, I think Roy Nelson's deteriorating in his skills, and I think Matt takes this one. I don't know if it's a – I mean, it's a 3-round fight, so probably decision. I don't think he finishes him.
Yeah. Anything you want to say, Ray, on this fight?
Nah. Yeah. Okay. I guess I'll touch up on it. I mean, I've been a Big Country fan for a long time too. You know, it'd be nice to see him get a win. Like you said, he is getting up there in age. You know, it's these guys. They have that heart of a lion. They always want to be in there fighting. But like you said, like hopefully we'll see a throwback Big Country and he'll get a knockout. That'd be awesome to see, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah.
It would be dope, man. And this is, I believe, to me personally, I know this is not UFC and it's Bellator, but I think it's one of the more exciting things going on in the world of MMA. You know, we were just talking about, I guess, all the confusion and I don't want to say sloppiness in the UFC, but there just seems to be a lot of disorganization when it comes to setting up fights and who gets a title shot. And this tournament in Bellator is truly, I mean, a great way to ensure that there's no bullshit. I mean, it's a tournament. The best guy's going to win. You can argue, that the bracket's set up a little weird. If I'm Bellator, I maybe don't have these two guys fight in the first round. But it's something exciting that us as fans can look forward to. And I'm going to rock with Matt Mitrione on this one too. He looked great in his last fight, his Bellator debut. And he's actually, I believe, the favorite to win the whole competition. I believe it's like between him and Bader are both seen as great favorites. And it's going to be dope. I'm excited to watch that. That is on the Paramount Network Friday night. If you guys want to tune into that, and it's kind of that's kind of we got our bases covered. Maybe we can talk about an update to the UFC 223 Brooklyn card. They just announced Artem Lobov versus Alex Caceres. Man, they keep feeding Lobov these killers. I mean, everybody talk on Lobov's record, but it's because he fights dogs and he fights like a dog. And you guys are going to that fight headlined by Khabib Nurmagomedov, the Eagle, versus Tony Ferguson for the lightweight championship fight. Yeah. Ray, I'm gonna let you start, man. I mean, you're going to the fight. How excited are you for this, man?
I can't even put into words how excited I am for this fight. Like, there's just so many fights on this card that could easily headline any fight night. Easily. It's just like I'm way too excited. You guys know I'm a huge Joanna fan, so you guys know I'm gonna go insane when she comes out. But overall, like, just being able to actually experience going to a UFC event has been, like, honestly life-changing. Like, when I went to my first one was in Long Island, New York. And after that, I was like, I want to do this all the time. Like, after my first event, I was like, I need to go to UFC events, like, every time I get a chance. And the fact that we're going to probably one of the best cards of the year, it's definitely going to be probably one of the best cards of the year. This card is insane. And the fact that me and Tom are going to be there is, I can't even put it into words, man.
Yeah, I've never gone to a UFC event. I've been to some other events, but Tommy, I know you've gone to several UFC events. Can you just kind of talk about it and give some insight on what it's like to actually go and what you think it's going to be like going to a card of this magnitude?
Yeah, I mean, going to a card is just a complete different feeling than watching it on TV. I mean, of course, the view is not as good as the TV, but just the atmosphere and the people screaming stuff in the audience. You're laughing at people. They say stupid stuff. They're intoxicated while you're watching the fight. It's just a fun time, man. And just meeting fighters and meet and greets and going to stuff like that. It's just a fight fan's dream. It's just the place to be at. So yeah, I've been to several events. My first event was John Jones versus Chael Sonnen. That was a weird-ass fight, but it was my first experience. It was a great time, and I had nosebleeds in the back, and I loved every minute of it. And, yeah, it was a great show, and, yeah, this is going to be another great one. Probably the best one I've ever been to.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's what's up. And with Lobov getting added to this card, what do y'all think that means? You think someone special is going to be there?
I think our boy, the notorious one, will make an appearance. You know he has to see his boy fight. So we're definitely going Connor hunting.
Also, Artem's fighting and Khabib and Tony. So that's two reasons for Connor to be in the audience.
Definitely.
Yeah, and you know that he loves that attention. It's been a while since I guess he's made any kind of like real appearance, but why not? You know, why not have the champ there? We already know Connor loves New York City. He's there all the time. Well, maybe not all the time, but he's there. He's there pretty frequently. Doing his thing. I think it would be great to have him there, and have him cage side. Someone better, hold him back though. Like we don't want him like rushing the cage or whatever. But it would be dope to have there. And also, like, I was thinking that, there's two Russian fighters on the card. Khabib and Artem. There may be more that I'm unaware of, but it would be cool to maybe set up a storyline to where the UFC can announce UFC Russia, and if let's say Khabib beats Ferguson, we don't know how that fight's going to go, But how crazy would it be to set up Conor Khabib in Russia, with Artem on that card? It would be great.
Yeah, what if the UFC booked Artem on that card just to have Conor watch Khabib versus Tony, and then whoever wins gets interviewed, and then they shout out Conor McGregor in the audience to force him to take a fight?
Ooh, yeah. I mean, it's possible. You never know. I mean, I feel like he's definitely going to be there. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. He has to be there. It'll be disrespectful if he's not there. They're fighting for his belt. And, he's the champ. So he's going to have to be there. And, whoever wins the fight, Conor's going to have to come in there and have to stare off, Hopefully, we'll see what's happening. But
we'll see what's going on. It's definitely something to look forward to. Obviously, we've got to get through UFC 222 first in March. That UFC 222 is in March. And then this card, UFC 223 that we're talking about now, isn't until April 7th. So, we're still going to see developments. This card is looking stacked. Yeah, I feel like we touched on a lot of stuff today. I think we've been going now for almost an hour. I want to say thank you to everyone who's been watching. We'll be back next week around this time. It's Wednesday night. That'll be early Thursday morning. So we'll get this podcast uploaded so you guys can watch and get all our predictions on what we think is going down this weekend. Anything you guys want to say before we go?
I want to say I want to shout out everybody for the support. It's been really awesome. Like I said on Twitter, on Facebook, Snapchat, everywhere. Our goal was to have 50 viewers for the podcast, and boom, we're at 200. So I just really want to say that we really do appreciate everyone's support.
Oh yeah, every view counts. I mean, I love doing this stuff. Doing podcasts is fun, and to get people to watch and enjoy it, and people commenting on videos, it just makes you want to do it even more. Yeah. So I love this stuff.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun chopping it up with you guys. And to those who are watching right now via YouTube, which we're gonna upload pretty immediately to, I do have plans to set up a SoundCloud for our show so that it can really be a real podcast and not just like a web. I guess what we're doing now is more of like a webcast, but we are going to release the audio only version so that you guys can listen to it in more easily on the go in your cars or whatever. And maybe after we get the shows going, try to get into the Apple Store, try to get on Spotify. We want to grow this, and it was really great the success that we had last week. We're at over 200 views now. I know that's small considerably, but like to us, we know that means a lot. So we just want to thank you guys all for watching. I'm Cal. This has been a great episode of Totally Recalled MMA. This is episode 2. Hope you guys join us for episode 3. Y'all say your piece.
We out. Peace out, everybody.
We out, y'all. Take it easy.